Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel or welcome here if you are new. I'm Manganet. I do book related content, sometimes not, most of the time yes. I mean, is it? Today we are here to answering the media freakout book tag. I've answered this tag a bunch of times in the past. I'll leave the links for the previous versions in the description of the video in case you're curious, but basically this is a tag that, as the name suggests, you reply to halfway through the year, and every single year I make the same comment, which is, when did we get here? I don't know. This year so far I've read 23 books out of 60. I'm only 7 books behind halfway through, which is still a lot because I'm not reading a lot, so like 7 books is probably the equivalent of 7 months worth of reading. Let's get started. Question number 1. Best book you've read so far? It hasn't been a great reading year. I haven't read that many books, but this has been one of my 5-star favorites. I could have said something else, but I'm trying to not repeat the same book as much as possible, so I'm saving some others for other questions. And this is a 5 stars. This is hosted by Claire McIntosh. The cover doesn't look like this, but this is the ARC version, and I really like this. This is featuring one of my vlogs that I hope to publish relatively soon. It's all recorded and ready to go. I just need to edit, but there's a lot of editing going into that vlog. I'm very happy and very proud of my idea, but it's taking me weeks to edit that thing. So bear with, but hopefully soon you will see the vlog where I read this and it's gonna be fantastic. I hope. Best sequel. I don't think I've read any sequels this year, but I selected the book from the same author that I've read in the past. This is You and Me on Vacation by Emily Henry. And it's not a sequel to anything, this is a standalone, but in the past I've read her other book, which is Beach Read, so I'm kind of considering this a sequel, but like, it's not, okay? Don't take my word for it. She also has a new book coming out this year that has come out already. And also, I thought that these 3 were the only books that she had, but then I went on Goodreads and I discovered that she has a bunch of other books. Some others that I've even heard of and like recognize the covers, but I had no idea it was hers, and I think they are like fantasy, so maybe this is like, it's been her debut on romance novels. I have no idea, don't quote me, I know nothing about books. New release you haven't read but want to. I want to read The Island. I don't have that book, I'll leave the cover here. It's from the same author, Andrew McKinty or something, that wrote The Chain, which was a book that I read 2 years ago, question mark. I think it's out already, at least in America. I'm not sure if it's out in the UK. But yes. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Of course, for here, I have to say the newest John Marr book. It's called Keep It in the Family. It's going to be released on the 18th of October, which is my birthday month. So if anyone is, you know, looking for a gift, actually not, because I pre-ordered the book. So if you're looking for a gift, find something else. Biggest disappointment. Oh dear. Dear Edward by Anne Napolitano. I've had this book on my shelf for so long. It's so pretty. Look at it. Look at the end pages. Not end pages. Sprayed edges. That's it. The end pages are gorgeous as well. I mean, look at it. I've been looking forward to read this book for so long, and then I ended up DNFing it because it's just not good at all. Biggest surprise. I think that in this question you're supposed to choose a book that you like but you were not expecting to like. However, me being the person that I am, I had to go with the opposite, which is once again choose something that disappointed me. But in this specific case, something that I was expecting I was gonna like it, and then I actually actively didn't, which is this one. 29 Seconds by T.M. Logan. The reason why I was expecting to like this is because I've only ever read one other T.M. Logan, and to this day I still consider it one of my all-time favorite thrillers. So when I read this, I was like, it's gonna be amazing, and this is gonna become one of my favorite authors, and then this ended up being a 2-star for me. It's so silly, so pointless, I was so disappointed, and now I have no other choice but to keep reading T.M. Logan to see if it's actually worth it or not. I do have a few more on my shelves, so maybe soon. One day. Probably not soon. Favorite new author, either new to you or a debut author. And for here, I selected Stephen Rowley, which is the author of 2 books that I read this year and I really loved. And I haven't mentioned them yet, but they are both coming up in other questions. So I know I'm not gonna break the suspense. He's not a new author, but I had never read anything from him, and both books that I read, I gave them 5 stars this year. So that's my new favorite author for 2022. Newest fictional crush. So every year I say the same thing, which is I'm not one to have fictional crushes. I don't read books, and I could have stopped the sentence. But I don't read books picturing myself with those characters, even when they're really cute. I don't really care in that sense of, well, like, I don't picture myself there, so I never have a crush. However, it's still within the book category, but not really. But the Heartstopper adaptation to TV series on Netflix. Oh dear, I think that was the biggest crush that I've ever had in my 28 years of existence. It was embarrassing, and it was for the character Nick Nelson, who is, by the way, 10 years younger than me, and oh my god, that crush hit me hard. We're over it now, finally, gladly. Took me a couple of weeks. But I don't know, it just hit me really hard, and the whole time I kept thinking, when is this stupid crush gonna go away, because it's so unrealistic. So obviously I knew that eventually it was gonna go away, so I was literally just waiting for it to pass. Eventually it did. We are through. We are on the other side. But Nicholas Nelson, the golden retriever boy. Newest favorite character, gay Uncle Patrick, Gup, who's the main character of a book that comes here in another question. So I'm just gonna skip to that one, which is Book That Made You Happy. That book is The Gunkle. So Gup is the Gunkle. He's the main character of that story. And this book is written by Stephen Rowley, which is the author of my favorite author question. And then still on this area, there is a Book That Made You Cry, which is also a book by Stephen Rowley, which is Lily and the Octopus. Hold on, I have this one. Here it is. There is a vlog here on this channel of me sobbing, crying my eyes out, all my emotions, all my feelings literally dripping through my eyes. This book is so good. If you have pets, do not read it. That's all I'm gonna say. Unless if you want to be emotionally destroyed, because sometimes I feel like I need a cleanse and I need to cry my eyes out and just purify my soul. If that's your case as well, then read that. It's a good book for that. Most beautiful book you've bought or received this year. One of my most recent purchases, which is The Romantic Agenda by Claire Can. The reason why I bought this was so I could read it during Pride Month, which it was June, but then I bought it like on the 27th. So how realistic is that? Not at all. But this is about this girl, what's her name? I don't know, Joy, who is asexual, but she's not aromantic. So she's still interested in romantic relationships, but without any kind of sexual connotation. I've never read anything from an asexual point of view, and I've been wanting to for a while. And then I saw this recommended, and I was like, yes, I need to have it. But also, can we talk about these new kind of vibes of romantic covers where they're like drawn and they look a bit childish, because they are drawn and they have like handwritten fonts. I'm here for that. I'm loving the new trend. Even when I was looking for the new releases for the second half of the year, I was just scrolling through Goodreads, seeing if there was anything that I was forgetting that I could mention here. Spoiler, there was not. All the romance covers, they're all so pretty. They're all in this vibe. So I don't know who approved this new vibe of childish covers for romances, but I love it. Also, this is an American edition, so it's floppy and the cover is like rubber. Everything that I love about a book, it's in here. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I mean, have we met me? I haven't been reading a lot at all. So there is a lot of books in the shelves behind me that I could probably unhaul because I kind of lost interest in them. But when I look at certain ones, I'm like, yes, I really want to read them like yesterday. For starters, all this entire collection of Louise Candlish books. There's 5 of them here. I've never read anything from her, and yet every time I see her books, I want them, and I feel like I want them in my collection and I want to read them, and all the plots seem amazing. So the books that I have here are Other People's Secrets. This is the ugliest cover, but everything else, the covers are so pretty. The Other Passenger, this was the one that started this madness of buying all her books. The Height, it's gorgeous. Look at that cover. Our House, she's a beauty. And Those People, like, she has more books, and if I find them on charity shops, chances are I'm gonna buy them. So I should probably also start reading them, just so I know if I actually enjoy her books or if I'm collecting them for nothing. I also really want to read Forever Interrupted by Taylor Jenkins Reid, mostly because it's another floppy paperback and my heart is weak, and I don't know, I feel like if it's a floppy paperback, I want to read it more than I want to read everything else. And then the book that has been in this tag, I think it's the 3rd year that I mentioned this book. The first time was at being an anticipated release, the second time as being a new release that I haven't read but I want to, and now just as something that I really need to read just because I feel the shame. I've mentioned it so many times. It's One by One by Ruth Ware. And that is it. This is my walk through the halfway of the year, the Media Freakout book tag. Let me know in the comments what has been the best book you've read so far, and what is the book that you think I need to read next this year. Maybe it's a challenge, maybe it's not, but it could be, potentially. Drop me names down below in the comments, and I'll see you very soon here on the channel with another video. Bye!